Do mock interviews make a difference? I don't know. Let's take a look. How about this student right here? Hi, Boris. The interview I had yesterday went well. I met with two faculty members who showed a positive vibe towards me. That's always a good sign. They didn't show me a weird face at all. Okay, I feel like that needs a little bit of an explanation. So this particular student that I want to say at least 2 mock interviews with, maybe 3, she said that last year she interviewed at the same school that she interviewed at this year, and to a number of questions when she was asked them by the interviewers, she had her response, and they made what she described as like a weird, judgmental, negative, not a good face that you want to see on your interviewer after you give your response. So she called it like a weird face. Basically, a judgmental, negative reaction to her response. So she actually remembered all the questions and her responses. She told me about some of these things during our mock interview and feedback session, and I also made the same face, to be perfectly honest with both of you. I said, yeah, I could see why they would make such a weird face at something like that. That is a weird response. Here's why. It communicates this about you. It communicates that. And then when I explained it to her in my own way, she understood and she didn't make those mistakes anymore. Now, this student was actually probably the hardest mock interview that I've ever had to do. And this is no offense to the person, but some people are easier, some people are harder, some people have certain difficulties, some people only have like one thing really holding them back, and some people have just a tremendous amount of things to work on. This person, during her interview, was so nervous, she couldn't even understand the questions I was asking. Like, we did some scenario questions, and she would literally, it's like, after her response, I was like, what question are you answering? Because you're not even answering the question that I asked you. Like, what are you talking about? And then she would be like, what do you mean? I thought I was answering it. And then we went like sentence by sentence, word by word. And it took several times going through it for her to be like, oh, I didn't answer that question at all. Like, I didn't listen. I listened to like 15% of the words that you said in the question because I was so nervous. And so that's what I was working with. And honestly, after a few of those, I was like, man, I am not optimistic. I'm not optimistic about this at all. But as you will see in this email, through all of that, I would say kind of brutal feedback, honestly. Like, I was very honest with her. I didn't, dropped my phone. I didn't like try to go out of my way to make her feel bad, of course, but I'm going to be honest. Like, somebody pays me what they pay me for a mock interview. I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm also going to give you legitimate steps to fix whatever problems you have. And in her case, she listened, she took notes, she practiced, she did everything I told her, and here's the result. And I'm going to move my big head and I'll show you the result, right? So she says, thank you very much for your help. Your advice helped me reduce my anxiety. I'll keep you posted on my result. And then she said this time, the faculty members didn't make a weird face at all. So much, much improved. Huge improvement over last year at the same school. She said, I'll keep practicing for another interview coming up next month. I'll schedule another mock interview. She did, I think 2, maybe even 3 already. And she improved drastically with every single one to the point where she felt very comfortable in her interview and felt that the interviewers were giving her good responses. Now, is that a guarantee that she's going to get in? No. But it sure as heck is a huge improvement, over last year, and now she has another interview coming up, so now she'll improve even more. So the title of this video is Mock Interview. Does it do anything? Or Mock Interview, is it valuable? Or maybe I'll call it something like Mock Interview, should I do one, right? First things first, yeah, everybody should do one, not just as somebody who does it professionally. Have your friends quiz you. Me personally, when I was applying, I did do a mock interview, I think with the PA platform or one of those places, which was fine. I mostly just kind of did it for reassurance, are my answers okay? Is my vibe okay? Am I dressed okay? But I don't feel like they really gave me a whole lot of great feedback. Maybe they did, I can't remember. But it was mostly just for reassurance. But should you do a mock interview? Should you practice with people, even if it's not someone who's kind of a professional like I am, who does these things, even with your friends, by yourself in your room, whatever? Yeah. Because the biggest difference I've make a huge performance difference in interviews is practice. Consuming content about mock interviews, reading mock interview books, looking at questions and preparing responses on paper will not do anything if you're not practicing. All right. The hardest thing about interviewing is the actual delivery, is the actual act of interviewing. The analogy I just used with somebody, I think they were like a gym person. I think she was like really big into like lifting weights and going to the gym. So I said, how much more progress would you make in the gym if you read books about working out for a year or if you actually worked out for a year? And she was like, okay, you're right. It's all about the working out. It's about the repetitions. It's about the reps. You need to put in reps. Interviewing is the exact same thing as working out, as training for whatever sport you're doing, as training for anything. It's just training. It's the same thing. It's repetitions. It's reps, 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 reps. Now, feedback, especially from people who know what they're doing, is good. Feedback even to yourself, if you record yourself, is good. But practice, practice, practice is what you really need. So, can't possibly think of a better example in this case than this person. I'm so proud of her. She's done so much better, and that's amazing. And she's not the first one either. She is not the first one. I've done hundreds of mock interviews, and a lot of them, honestly, are kind of like I was when I was applying, just looking for reassurance. Like, am I a good applicant? Do I interview well? And then when I say hey, you actually did really, really well, 8 out of 10, these little tweaks will make you a 9 out of 10 or whatever, 10 out of 10. But overall, very, very good, top 30% of people I've ever interviewed. And they're shocked. They're like, oh, really? Yeah, if you didn't change a thing, you'd still be okay. But here's how you get a little better. Most of the people I mock interview are like that. But some people, a good 25%, are very hard cases. They're making very big mistakes. And if they implement the things that I literally tell them to do, the things that I tell them to practice, to spell out for them, to do exactly what it is, I give them homework. If they do their homework, they improve drastically. And you guys are going to see this. You guys are going to see this next year because I have about 30 mock interviews that I'm going to be posting next year. Because this year, I'm asking everybody that I mock interview, hey, is it okay if I post it? And most people are saying no, but a lot of people are saying yes. So this time next year, there's going to be about 30, at least, mock interviews posted on this channel. And if TikTok, disappears, then it's going to be on my YouTube channel and on my Instagram. I promise I'm not going anywhere. We're making too big of a difference. We're helping too many people for me to just go somewhere. All right. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving you guys ever. I am doing this with you. All right. I'm going to help for as long as, I can. Right. But anyway, so you guys are going to see next year. I've even got at least one, hopefully a few other people allow me to post their mock interviews before and after. Because I've had a few where it was we did a mock interview and it was really, really rough. And I gave them some brutal feedback. And then they implemented that, they practiced, and then they came back a week or two later and did another one. And you can see a stark difference in their performance, in their vibe, in how comfortable and confident they seem. You can just see it. It's two different people. It's night and day. And I'm so stoked when that happens because it happens a lot. All right. If you know what to look for, if you know the mistakes that people make, if you know how to point them out, if you know how to explain why they're making them, and how exactly the exercises they need, the exact things they need to practice in order to get over those things, it makes such a world of difference. And it is so gratifying to me. And I'm so proud of people when they do things like this. Okay. So anyway, all of that aside, should you do a mock interview? Absolutely. Even if it's not with someone like me or someone that you pay or whatever, just do it with your friends. Just do it by yourself. But just please promise me, you guys, that you'll practice. And that is all you need to become a better interviewer.